Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Whatever comes to meet us, know the darkness won't defeat us. Stay strong and keep your faith alive.
It's really valuable to remember that the promise of this work is the total, the final, the complete, the permanent annihilation of suffering. That the ancient wisdom reveals that the cause of our suffering is the ignorance of our inherent divinity. That we are already liberated. Everything we are seeking, we are already have. And it's simply a process of removing the veils of our ignorance and realizing our inherent divinity. So everything that we do here, you are co-conspirators in my journey towards liberation, that you join, we join together as a fellowship seeking self-realization. So I thank you for your love and support all these years, Marie and Cheryl, Mary, as we all are co-conspirators in this journey to liberation, to topple the brainwashing of the dominant paradigm and to realize our essential divine nature. This incredible, incredible, incredible wisdom of our Mother, Father, Goddess has made this creation so that we're not just a drop in the ocean, but we are the mighty ocean in the drop. The ancient sage, ancient poet Rumi reminds us that we're not a drop in the ocean, but we are the ocean in the drop. And we've come together to contemplate, to realize within ourselves the experience that this is pointing to, the experience of the mighty ocean in the drop. One of our basic premises is to treat the life force as God, that this life force, this right here, we live in an ocean of life force. We're fish swimming in this ocean of life force. And every moment, this breath of life, you know, in Hebrew, rauch, however you say it, spiritus in Latin, this breath is pregnant with life force. And this breath is what sustains this body. If we were to stop breathing for just a few moments, this body disintegrates, it becomes inert, falls apart. It's only this spiraling spiritus that attunes us to Nada Brahma, the power of life, this self-organizing intelligence that is the gift. So over the weeks, over the months, over the years, over the decades, as we've been contemplating this great and wondrous mystery of energy, and as we've been cultivating our relationship to this mystery in so many ways, as we dance and sing and cry and laugh through this journey of life, we have layer by layer deepened our understanding of the unity and divinity of all life. Recently, we've been talking about this creation as omnipresent awareness, as an omniscient awareness. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna, the Purna Avatar, the full embodiment in human form of divinity, reveals that I am the knower of all fields. He says the body is the field and I am the knower of all fields. So this is God as ultimate intelligence saying that I am present in all fields. I am omnipresent, that I am this omnipresent awareness. In these last years and months, we've been stressing that life, the definitive characteristic of life is it is self-organizing. That life is self-creating, autopoietic, self-generating, self-sustaining. That the definitive quality of every atom of nature, every living creature, is that it is self-creating, self-generating, self-sustaining, that every cell recreates itself from moment to moment, and all the processes, every cell generates the systems and the processes and the homeostasis to recreate itself, to nourish, to toss out toxins, to rebuild, to reform, to regenerate. And that this is the miracle of life that's in every atom, every molecule, every cell, every biological and organic process is self-generating, self-creating, self-sustaining. That this is our definitive characteristic of life. And so we've said that life forms are a homeostatic process, that life forms in fields of energy which move from the source out in the field and then return to the source in a cybernetic process of self-correction, maintaining that homeostasis. And whether we're talking about an atom, a molecule, a cell, tissue, an organism, Mother Gaia, a planetary system, or the vast mystery of the cosmos, we're talking about self-organizing systems that sustain their equilibrium through a cybernetic process, and a cybernetic process that's rooted in consciousness, awareness, cognizance, that it's able to take in the experience of every dimension of the organism and then self-correct to maintain that homeostasis. So we view this process. Let's look at a couple of thinkers who are contemporary scientists who are viewing this process here. So we're going to. This is Rupert Sheldrake, who we're looking at this morning, and who we're going to be hearing. He's quite he's one of the most important biologists in the world today. He's part of just a renaissance of the importance of consciousness in biology and in our understanding of nature and the cosmos. Really a very interesting guy who has written books like Dogs Who Know When Their Masters Are Coming Home. And I listen to his podcast almost daily. Just a brilliant scientist who was very well educated, Harvard and Oxford and all of that, who argues with many of the leading scientists of the world. He sets himself up for debates with many of the leading materialists, in which he challenges their thinking and their assumptions. But in any case, he will be talking about the nature of holarchy, of nested hierarchies of self-organizing wholes. So the concept of holarchy comes from the brilliant work of the 19th century philosopher and writer Arthur Koestler, who wrote a seminal book called The Ghost and the Machine. And he was pointing out, that we talk about a whole and we talk about a part, but a part is terribly lacking. A part is only a part of a whole. Do you hear how a part is lacking? It's not a whole, even though a whole is made up of all these parts. So he developed the concept of holon, that a holon was a whole unto itself, like an atom, a molecule, a cell, an organ is a whole unto itself, and yet it's part of a holarchy, a nested hierarchy of wholes. So everywhere in nature, we're seeing holons, which are self-organizing systems unto themselves, which are part of nested hierarchies of wholeness, creating atoms, molecules, cells, organs, tissues. So we're saying that all that there is an omniscience, which we call awareness, and an omnipresence called awareness. And this is the same presence. It's right here, right in you, right now, your cognizance. That this is the omnipresence, that this is God, this is the goddess. She is this omnipresent that is present in you and and allows you to self-correct in the homeostatic chaos that is your life. And it's the same omnipresence in the atom and the molecule and the cell, which is the very essence of life as a self-organizing. You're a self-organizing system, attempting to generate and sustain and create the circumstances that will maximize the harmony and homeostasis of your life. This is the macrocosm of what's going on in every atom and molecule and cell. And as such, you're part of the holarchy of nature. You're holding up your bit of the cosmos. Yes, yes. You are the butterfly, and the fluttering of your wings is affecting the vast reaches of the galaxy. Yes, my butterflies. Yes, my butterfly. Flutter your beautiful wings, because yes, 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 the omniscience is right here. So let's hear some. This sage scientist raving about the same point in his own Oxfordian way. So, Rupert, let's see if we can get you to.
But if we take panpsychism seriously, what it's saying is that there's a kind of mind or psyche in all self-organizing systems. And self-organizing systems exist at all levels of complexity. An electron is self-organizing when it's a free electron. When it's within an atom, it becomes within the organizing field of the whole atom. When the atom's in a molecule, like a hydrogen atom in one of your protein molecules, it comes under the organizing field of the whole molecule. When a molecule's in a crystal, then the whole crystal has an organizing field which has these parts within it, which have parts within them, which have parts within them. A cell is self-organizing and has a higher level of wholeness. A tissue is self-organizing. An organism, a plant or an animal, is an organism that is self-organizing, containing organs within it. A society of organisms, like a flock of starlings or a school of fish, is like a higher organism or a termite colony, a superorganism, where the individual animals become like cells in a larger organism. But this same pattern carries on throughout the universe, that the Earth is a self-organizing system. Gaia is a self-organizing. The whole point of the Gaia hypothesis is that the Earth is a self-organizing system. The solar system is self-organizing. There's nobody pushing it around, adjusting and tweaking it. It organizes itself. The sun is at the center of it, but it's like a gigantic organism. And just as the Earth has a magnetopause around it, like a membrane, so the whole solar system has a kind of membrane around it, the heliopause, which the galactic wind interacts with this kind of membrane around the whole solar system. The whole of that solar system is a kind of electric organism, not just the sun itself, but within this membrane of the heliopause. And it's in turn within the galaxy, which is a self-organizing system with these vast electric currents and magnetic fields. At each of these levels, there's a wholeness that's more than the sum of the parts, and they're self-organizing systems. Now, let me say, just as a side, to prevent this sort of misunderstanding or confusion, this idea of panpsychism applies to self-organizing systems. It does not apply to systems that are not self-organizing, i.e. chairs, tables, motor cars, computers, and so on.
Now there's a second clip here. Let's see if we can get it to play too.
If we look at the way that the whole of nature is organized, it turns out that it has particular kinds of structure. The organization of everything in nature, everything that's self-organizing, turns out to be made up of wholes within parts within wholes, and the whole system itself is a part of something larger. So it's what's called a nested hierarchy or a holarchy. So within atoms there are subatomic particles like electrons and neutrons, and within the nucleus there are many different subatomic particles. The nucleus of an atom is a whole. It's a WHOLE, a whole, made up of parts, neutrons and protons. Round it are the electrons whizzing in a series of orbitals, many of which are very beautiful. Some are figures of 8 type orbitals, some are donut-shaped. They have mathematical forms, the orbitals even within the atom. And then those are joined together in molecules, where the whole molecule has a form which binds together the parts, the atoms within it. So in a molecule, there are certain electrons whiz around the entire molecule, like a kind of envelope holding it together, and it's made up of atoms. So the molecule is a wholeness, has a wholeness that includes the atoms. And those can be included in crystals, like in snowflakes made up of water molecules. And in living organisms, cells which have a wholeness more than the sum of their parts. They're in tissues, in organs, in organisms. And then organisms can form whole societies of organisms like schools of fish or flocks of birds or termite colonies where the whole is more than the parts. And we see the same general pattern of organization in the solar system. The solar system is more than just the planet and the sun. The whole lot is a system, a wholeness with parts within it. And that in turn is within the galaxy, which has a great wholeness. So the stars are like cells within the body of the galaxy. And that too has a wholeness made up of parts. Now, our minds also work that way. They work in terms of parts and wholes, nested in hierarchy of levels of organization. That's how we see things in a kind of gestalt patterns. We see there's a wholeness and we see parts within them. And the structure of our language works that way too. If you think about it, the phonemes, the basic sounds, make up words. And the words are put together in phrases, and the phrases are put together in sentences. So a sentence consists of several phrases. Each phrase consists of words, each word consists of phonemes. In each case, there's a patterning of the parts within a higher level whole, within a higher level whole, within a higher level whole.
Everyone take a deep breath. I feel like that's a lot to integrate. Now, I also would like to, let's see if I can get hold of this. Let's see if we can get out of here. And then if we can go into this share. This is stated really, really beautifully again, we're talking about wholeness and nested hierarchies of wholeness. We're talking about holons and holarchies, which are nested hierarchies. And we talked earlier, we pointed to how the golden ratio spiral is the mathematics of the life breath of a living universe, which allows the integration of atoms into molecules, into cells, into tissue, into organs, into organisms, into Gaia, into the cosmos, that you find the same proportional harmonics in the distance between the planets that you find in the structure of a cockroach, that they're all manifested in the same rhythms of the life breath of a living earth, a living cosmos, and that the golden ratio spiral allows for this nested hierarchy of life forms, which are generated within the rhythms of the life breath of omnipresent Nada Brahma, the vibration of the ultimate Brahman, and Nada Brahma, the all-pervasive, ever-evolving life breath of a living universe. Now here I want to see if I can find this Deepak Chopra quote.
The universe is self-organizing, driven by its own working processes. In a self-organizing system, each new layer of creation must regulate the prior layer. So the generation of every new layer in the universe, from particle to star to galaxy to black hole, cannot be considered random, given that it was created from a pre-existing layer that in turn was regulating the layer that produced it. The same holds true throughout nature, including the workings of the human body. Cells form tissues, which in turn form organs, the organs form systems, and finally the entire body has been created. Each layer emerges from the same DNA, but they stack up, as it were, until the pinnacle of achievement, the human brain, crowns it all. Yet, as magnificent as the brain is, compared with a single colon cell, the smallest component in its multi-layered structure is cared for and nourished. DNA has evolved this skill at building hierarchies because the entire universe was its schoolroom. This recursive system of self-organization, to give it a scientific name, where every layer curves back on itself to monitor another layer, pervades physics and biology. For example, your genes produce proteins that monitor and regulate the entire genome, tending to repairs and mutations in your DNA. In your brain, neural networks create new synapses, the connecting gaps between brain cells that in turn monitor and regulate the pre-existing synapses that gave rise to them. The brain integrates all new knowledge, information, and sensory input by associating it with what you already know. Whether we're speaking of genes in the brain or solar systems and galaxies, self-organization is present. Existence requires balance, which demands feedback. By monitoring itself, a system can correct imbalances automatically. Every new bit of the universe, however minuscule, must create a feedback loop with what gave rise to it. Otherwise it wouldn't be connected to the whole in human terms, it would be homeless. Viewed this way, fine-tuning isn't a mystery. No one finds anything mysterious about how the gear train in a car's transmission fits together precisely. If it didn't, the car couldn't operate. In the same way, an operational universe must be fine-tuned. Why would we expect the opposite to be true, that the universe is naturally ramshackle? What's actually natural in nature at every level is self-organization. Even when an event appears to be random, satisfying the mathematics of randomness, a kind of purpose is invoked, beginning with the overarching purpose of homeostasis, the dynamic balance of all parts in a whole. In our view, the fine-tuning of the universe shows how sensitive nature is, balancing galaxies by making sure that subatomic particles are in balance first. Self-organization is embedded in the fabric of the cosmos, like an invisible, of stage choreographer to drive cronies at her. This must it be mistaken for the red herring of intelligent design by a supernatural god in the sly. The smooth running of the universe is underpinned by quantum processes, rapidly noting invisible, microscopic choices that lead to final results at the level of daily life. Do humans exist on our planet as winners in a cosmic game of roulette, overcoming incredibly small odds of finding the right universe? Or do we exist because we fit into the hidden scheme of nature? Most people answer according to their worldview, which can be religious, scientific, or a blurry hybrid of the two. Yet one thing is certain. If we believe in a hidden scheme or a grand design, we'll see it, out there. We participate in the universe by finding order and figuring out where the patterns come from. Einstein hit upon a deep truth when he said, "I want to know the mind of God, everything else is just details." Substitute the purpose of the universe for the mind of God and you have a goal worth pursuing for a lifetime. P.71. You are the universe, Deepak Chopra.
Now that's all quite a bit to contemplate. So we are talking about the knower of all fields as an omnipresence of awareness, and how the infinite universe is omnipresence as a fine-tuning intelligence, maintaining the homeostasis of every atom and molecule and cell, and how it is the same presence. We're talking about the unity and divinity of all life. You know, scientists would describe an energy field as mostly space, and we would say that space is awareness on every level. And when there is a disturbance in the field, the space becomes conscious of it and self-corrects to maintain its equilibrium. So here is the parasympathetic nervous system, which integrates every dimension of the periphery of the body with the core. And here we accidentally touch the cactus, and we feel the tiniest prick of a thistle on our finger. Ow! And it goes to the core of the system, just like it could feel a mosquito landing here, or it could feel gurgling in our stomach, or stuffness in our colon. You hear what I'm trying to say about this awareness being omnipresent in the field, and then providing the feedback for self-correction of any disturbance. And so we are just a microcosm of this cosmic process. To understand God is to know yourself, the emerald tablet of Hermes, as above, so below. Let us be true and correct. That to know the cosmos is to simply know yourself, that you are the key to the mystery, and everything about you and the dynamics of your life points to this wondrous, wondrous gift of life that you are. Thoughts or questions? This is, I think, it's the clearest exposition we've had of this model as we've contemplated this over the decades. Many of you have been with me for years as we look at these same questions, which consume me day and night as a background of my life. So thoughts or questions? Please, Mary.
So with all that being said, which was quite a bit, but really, which was really amazing. All right, so you talked about, or, Deepak Chopra talked about all this, anyway, I can't even go into that, but whatever, multi-layering. But where I go a little bit is like, a client comes to us with an issue, and
Yes.
depending on if it's chronic or acute, it just depends. Sometimes I'm just gravitating more to the chronic. How does that fit? I mean, I understand the self-regulating and the self-sustaining and the self-generating, right? But at a certain point, right, like that, there's something that goes, awry in the system, and it's sort of just like,
Yes.
like I'm just right now,
Yes.
like thinking like it's sort of like like something lands and sticks and isn't able to move.
Yes.
Like we'll talk about that, in the chakra,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Excellent.
So
Excellent.
my my thinking is that a lot of times when people come to me with these really chronic conditions,
Yep.
and I'm just really interested in that at the moment, about
Of course.
like the chronic, and then you as the practitioner treating them. And yeah, I've been just the last few days, I've been going through this thing of like, okay, so people come with these chronic things, and then you treat them, and they're really good. They feel delicious after they leave or when they're leaving, and they go back to their life, right? And I live in Los Angeles, so that, and you know, that's self-explanatory, right? So, so I'm just, and I kind of have been grappling with this thing of like the homeostasis of where I live and the environment and the patterning of people. And yeah, I'm really kind of, I don't know what I guess what I'm trying to say is like these maladies and diseases come for me, like how I perceive it, as definitely a lesson, right? And a challenge of like
Yes,
that individual, right? And then are they willing to be open enough to hear, right? What, or feel or sense, or, you know, the felt sense enough to become really true and authentic. That's such a buzzword. About their process, right? In order to unwind that, right? Or at least to go in there and then kind of like be able to kind of pull out their homeostasis, right? So, oh golly, I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm really interested in that. And, you know, like you always say, which is so beautiful and poignant, you know, that our divinity, right? And it's our ignorance that we've lost, that our ability to see our divinity and the divinity that exists in every second all around us, regardless if it's Maya and chaos and everything. I'm kind of rambling, but that's my I don't know if there's a question in there, just a
yeah. No, it's a very important question. You know, you have people coming to you, and you're in your compassion wanting to help them, to help themselves. You know, what can I do to support them in finding their way to wholeness and well-being, and dealing with their problems. And you know, that's the question. And we're saying, you know, well, Dr. Stone would say, you know, that our work is to reconnect the field to the source. And there are many, many levels to that process. And there's no one way to do that. So, you know, we're saying that each of us is an evolving being, and that our work is to be fully present in our unique and vulnerable expression of the universe, and that there are times when our karma overwhelms us and we're unable to be present, and that ultimately all chronic disease is an issue in personal power, where at some point in our life we didn't have the personal power to be present in our body and to express our needs. So fortunately, we have the work that we're doing today, where we go beyond the conscious mind, where we're guided. Our instruction is we are guided by higher intelligence to the key to the person's growth and well-being. Do you hear that? We're asking, okay, we're talking to the client. We invite you to open to the key to your growth and your healing. And then we invite their subconscious to take us into a photograph which represents a time in their life and the part of their being that is the key to their healing. So here we're going beyond the conscious mind. We're going beyond any idea of who we are or how we work. And we're asking our own innate intelligence to take us into this image, which is going to be a holograph for taking us into the key to our healing and creating a doorway to reframe and reprogram the subconscious. Now, we call this process rescuing the inner child.
Let the grace of God bless man and every woman in this land. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Whatever comes to meet us, know No, the darkness won't defeat us. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Some say the end is coming, to set our souls running, but I say, stay strong and keep your faith alive. Let's all come together, take care of each other. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Raise your hands in the air. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Take a stand. Say a prayer. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Hand in hand, side by side, with hearts open wide. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Help others find the way. Create heaven here today. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Raise your hands in the air. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Take a stand. Sing a prayer. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. In times like these we need to remember what is real. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. United in our quest to spread love and happiness. Stay strong and keep your faith alive.